Technology is continually evolving to make information and media more and more accessible. In recent times, various entertainment companies have been utilizing cloud computing to make movies, music, video games, and other forms of entertainment accessible through just about any modern device that can connect to the internet. I'm Troy Stephenson, and I'm here to take you through the basics of cloud streaming, how streaming is applied to different types of entertainment, and the advantages and disadvantages of streaming. But before we get into the details, what is the cloud and streaming?
Well, cloud computing refers to applications, services, and data storage on the internet. You might use cloud computing services all the time without even realizing it. For example, email or Google Docs are cloud-based services. Despite how complicated the term may sound, cloud-based services are common.
More specifically though, what we're going to be looking at is how companies utilize cloud computing to stream data to devices. But what is streaming?
Well, to put it shortly, streaming refers to the continuous flow of data, allowing playback to start while the data is still being received.
In the past few years, entertainment companies have adopted streaming services into their business model. Not to mention, tons of companies have been wholly created around streaming services.
For the sake of this video, I divided entertainment streaming services to fit in one of the 5 categories: music and audio, TV and movies, live coverage, creator content, and video games.
Now I'll be diving into each of these topics in detail, since in many aspects, they're vastly different. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So first, let's talk audio. Previously, music and other forms of audio were accessed mainly through the radio, or physically through 8-track, vinyl, cassette tapes, or CDs.
Actually, radio is fairly similar to modern-day streaming, since it can allow for people to hear newly released music in an instant and listen to new talk shows live. Radios are still commonly used to listen to music and talk shows, and in most cars, new and old, have radio built into them.
The problem with radio is that they don't allow the user to select certain songs or programs to listen to. You would just be limited to what the radio stations happen to be playing. Plus, radio is prone to bad signals, meaning that the signal may be interrupted by static. Physical mediums like the previously mentioned CDs and tapes allow for physical ownership of your favorite songs. Unlike listening to the radio or buying digital download, once you own one of these bad boys, they're yours for good. Unless you lose them, break them.
What physical mediums don't allow for is easy or convenient portability. Some formats like vinyl are flat out impossible to use portably, but some formats like cassettes or CDs can be listened to through portable players, although you'll have to carry your own cassettes and CDs with you.
Digital download of music and audio solves this problem. Users can carry a full library of songs in their pocket and can access them in an instant, whenever, wherever. Unfortunately, digital download takes up a generous amount of storage on your device.
But most of these problems have been eliminated with the introduction of music and audio streaming. When streaming music and audio, there is no need to download or purchase music physically or digitally. All listeners have to do is open a music or audio streaming app and choose what they want to listen to.
Streaming also allows users to discover new music, artists, and podcasts easier than ever before. The ease of accessibility that streaming offers means that it's easier for new artists and bands to get their music exposed to more listeners.
One of today's most popular music streaming services is Spotify. Spotify is a service that users can access on their phones, computers, tablets, video game consoles, really any device that can connect to the internet can use Spotify. Users can access the millions of songs on Spotify for free with ads or with a monthly subscription fee. The standard subscription, which costs $10 per month, includes user benefits like ad-free listening and the ability to download songs for offline play. Spotify also offers a family plan which allows up to 6 users to be linked to the same monthly subscription for $15 a month. On top of those, a student plan is also offered for $5 per month exclusively for students in higher education. This subscription doesn't only include perks previously mentioned in the standard subscription, but it also includes a plan for Hulu and Showtime video streaming services.
That's about it for music and audio streaming, but speaking of Hulu and Showtime, that brings us right into our next topic. Let's talk about TV and movies. The two mediums have gone through little change in how they were viewed before streaming.
Movies still are usually released initially in theaters and at a later date available to be purchased or rented by consumers for home viewing, whether it be on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, or digital download.
The consumption of television programs have changed very little over time. as TV has only really been accessible through satellite TV or cable, though specific programs have been available through physical media or digital download.
With TV and movie streaming apps and services, users can view movies, shows, and other programs on a wide array of devices such as mobile devices, smart TVs, gaming devices, and desktop or laptop computers. Apps can range from media network specific to a wide variety of genres of TV shows and movies. Much like I mentioned with Spotify, TV and movie streaming services can cost a subscription fee or can offer content for free with ads to generate revenue for providers. Hulu, a service I mentioned before, offers an array of movies and TV shows for the user to watch, again, on most modern devices that can connect to the internet. Users can subscribe to a plan that runs ads during programs at $6 per month, or a premium Hulu plan that removes ads for $12 a month. Although services like Hulu and Netflix have increased in popularity, streaming has yet to make other movie viewing options obsolete, or at least out of style. Newly released films can stay in the movie theaters for weeks before they can be rented, streamed, or bought. The same goes for certain TV shows, as the network can decide to premiere single episodes from week to week.
Plus, the consumer still has an incentive to go out to a theater for the authentic experience or as a social pastime.
Anyways, to wrap up this portion of the video, there is little that is lost in the viewing of TV and movies through streaming services compared to previous counterparts.
But let's keep talking about TV. The type of media I covered is mainly pre-recorded content. What about other types of media, like the news or live sports? Live coverage is definitely covered by live streams. Some examples of live covered streams include news, sports games, press conferences, and expos. Although physically attending live events can be costly and require more time, there's still an incentive to go to these events for the sake of experience.
But if you don't care too much about going to an event to experience it yourself, or you just don't have time or money, then you can catch the event coverage on live TV, radio, or through a streaming device. Similar to when we talked about TV and movies, previous methods of watching live events have yet to become obsolete. For example, sporting events are still being broadcasted on sports radio stations, and live television shows are still being broadcasted on TV. Now let's talk streaming services again. Subscriptions for services like AT&T TV Now can get you access to live sporting event channels like ESPN, live coverage channels like CNN and Fox News, and other TV channels. What services like AT&T TV Now are trying to offer is access to standard TV channels without the use of a cable box. AT&T TV Now costs $50 per month for 45 plus channels or $70 per month for 60 plus channels. In some cases, this can be cheaper than cable TV fees. Plus, with streaming services like AT&T TV Now, channels and programs can be watched on a multitude of devices.
Live coverage goes beyond sports, press conferences, and news though. Thanks to live streaming, plenty of events and expos like E3, Comic-Con, and the Consumer Electronics Show now get live coverage.
An event like E3, also known as the Electronic Entertainment Expo, can be live streamed on a site like twitch.tv. Users can tune in for free on Twitch's mobile app or website to see the latest coverage of their favorite video game companies. Twitch runs ads to monetize live streams on their website, and they offer a monthly subscription fee which removes ads and offers other perks for $12.99 per month.
That about wraps it up for live coverage, but what about live content and regular video content made by everyday people? That's where creator content comes in. Nowadays, creator content is a huge source of entertainment for all audiences. How I'm defining creator content for this video is original content made by an everyday person, usually on their own or with a small team.
Before the popularization of streaming, creator content was fairly uncommon. Public broadcast television and home videos were some of the earliest examples of what we defined as creator content, but neither could really reach a wide audience.
But at least I've got an amazing cable access show, and I still know how to party.
Creator content started gaining a little more traction with early viral videos, which were commonly distributed with email or wikis. However, they would have to be downloaded directly to the user's computer to view. With the upbringing of cloud computing and live streaming, creator content has become a huge part of internet culture. YouTube innovated the way users created and shared this media, allowing the creator content industry to be more accessible to a broader range of people. There are billions of videos online created by millions of users, from funny cat videos to informational videos, to videos covering any niche interest imaginable.
YouTube monetizes its platform by running ads on videos that users upload. They also give content creators a cut of ad revenue to incentivize them to keep uploading content to their site. And on top of videos, YouTube and other websites allow for the user to live stream, whether it be of someone going about their everyday life, doing a live Q&A with viewers, or playing video games, which is a perfect transition into our final topic. Video games have become one of the most popular forms of entertainment among people of all ages. Traditionally, to play a video game, you would need a console, a physical game cartridge or disc, or other peripherals like a controller or a memory card. Everything was physically distributed.
Eventually, digital downloading was introduced to video games, which made it so users could purchase the newest titles from the comfort of their homes, although those downloads take up tons of space on the console's internal storage.
Only recently, video games have become available through streaming services. Entire video games can be stored on a virtual cloud for users to access them directly with their devices. Because the concept of streaming video games is so new, companies are still trying to find out more practical and efficient ways of streaming games.
PlayStation now costs $10 per month and allows subscribers to play over 800 games on modern PlayStation consoles and PCs. Google Stadia allows streamable games to be purchased through an online store, and users can even buy Stadia Pro for $10 a month, which gives users access to new games regularly. Game company Capcom released a streamable version of their game Resident Evil 7 on the Nintendo Switch eShop, which gives users access to stream the full version of the game for 180 days for only $18.
By far, one of the greatest benefits that video game streaming brings is eliminating the need to constantly buy new expensive hardware to run the latest titles. Theoretically, once streaming technology is perfected, there won't be a need for powerful gaming hardware if the game is simply streamed to devices.
Streaming games also means that load times are heavily reduced, and users no longer have to worry about downloading or updating games. Players don't have to deal with waiting around with streaming. They can play the latest version of their game almost instantly.
However, streaming has also introduced a new problem into the world of gaming. To stream a video game today, you need a really good internet connection, one that's fast and stable. However, today, most people don't have internet access that's good enough to stream a video game without significant lag or graphical downgrade.
Not only that, but the data that is streamed can amount to huge sizes. Google Stadia can stream over 15 gigabytes of data in just an hour of play, which heavily restricts gamers with internet data caps.
All in all, video game streaming is still in its infancy, and despite its current flaws, the advantages of streaming show the potential for this cutting-edge technology for the future. So after all this talk about streaming services and cloud computing, let's bring everything back together to look at the overall pros and cons of streaming services as a whole.
Let's get the bad news out of the way first. Every method of entertainment consumption has its flaws, and unfortunately streaming is still subject to some problems. Streaming, by definition, is entirely dependent on internet access. Having poor or no access to the internet will only make user experiences bad and frustrating. This includes issues like input lag for video games or buffering in audio and video services.
There's also the inevitability that streaming service operators can delist certain content from their platform. Media preservation is difficult due to the huge variety of content that's in this world.
Also, while a variety of services can definitely be good, consumers can get overwhelmed by the sheer number of streaming services they subscribe to and pay for every month. And on top of all of that, the most pressing issue with the use of streaming services is privacy and security. Storing and managing data in the cloud with third-party services makes some data and information vulnerable to breaches and hacking, including credit card info used for service payments. Plus, the services themselves are vulnerable to being hacked, which makes them temporarily unavailable.
Despite all these problems, there's plenty of good that comes with streaming that can outweigh the bad. The main advantage of streaming is its ease of access and use. Even the fact that most streaming services are free greatly reduces the barriers to entry. Plus, streaming services are, for the most part, very straightforward and easy to use. So why does all of this matter? Is streaming really the future of entertainment? Well, yeah. Don't get me wrong, streaming services do have their flaws at this point in time, but the accessibility to media that they provide is totally unrivaled by any other method of consumption. Plus, many of the current flaws are sure to be ironed out in the future. However, there's still one question that remains. When will streaming be refined enough towards the main method of media consumption? We don't have the answer to that question right now. Only the future knows the bounds of what's to come. Until next time, I'm Troy Stephenson, and thanks for watching.